Time. Welcome. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never really know what you're going to get. I believe this to be true, and I believe it to be equally true when it comes to coffee fermentations. I can't think of one single thing over the last few years that had more impact, both good and bad, on overall coffee quality than those fermentations. And I believe that when we have something as polarizing as coffee fermentations, what sets the really good stuff apart is going to be deliberation. So what I brought with me today is a coffee that I believe to be the perfect example of how deliberate fermentation can take coffee to that next level. Now I'm going to start by pulling the starch from my signature beverage, the final serving, and talk a little bit more about the coffee. The coffee that I'm using today comes from producer Mauricio and his farm La Negrita, located in the Tolima region of Colombia. It's a red geisha varietal that grows in volcanic soil up on 1,800 meters. The fact that it's a red geisha varietal brings beautiful stone fruit qualities to my coffee. And the volcanic soil is very important because it's famous for being nutrient rich. And the soil is where we get all of those beautiful complex flavors from. The high altitude generates a lower growing temperature. And that's really important because the cherry spends a longer time on the tree, making sure that we can build up more sugar content. And we need all of those beautiful sugars for that deliberate fermentation. And this is how it's done. Firstly, the coffees are handpicked at perfect ripeness of 23 bricks. After that, they're hand sorted before they're put in a sodium solution. And this solution is really important because it ensures that the cherries are 100% clean before they go into hermetic stainless steel tanks. And in those tanks, Mauricio also puts a specially developed coffee yeast. And what happens during the 70 hours my coffee and that yeast spends together in the tank is that the yeast helps breaking down sugars, developing new, beautiful organic acids. And these acids generates new flavor notes of tropical fruits to my espresso. After the fermentation, the coffee is taken out and it put on raised bed for a total of 4 weeks at controlled humidity to dry. Now, as you can tell, this is a pretty extraordinary coffee. So when I roasted it, I wanted to make sure to bring out and maintain all of those beautiful flavor notes. That meant a longer total roast time of 12.5 minutes, with plenty of development and long, low energy in the beginning of the roast. Now the first serving today is going to be espresso, and I want you to please follow my instructions. When I serve you the espresso, please hold off on tasting until I give you further instructions. I'm dosing all of my espresso today at 17 grams in to 48 grams out. And there's two very important reasons for this. My coffee has more organic acids than any other coffee, so I need a longer ratio to give you a balanced taste experience, and I want to showcase all of the beautiful flavor notes. Now the finer dose, the lower dose enables me to get a finer grind size. This gives me more surface area, hence I can extract more, which is really important. And I can generate a beautiful tactile quality even with a longer ratio. Now, I kindly ask you to write down as taste descriptors. Up front, we're finding flavors of sweet passion fruit, followed by white grapefruit, and peach. We're gonna have a medium acidity, a medium sweetness, a low bitterness, and a long-lasting aftertaste, highlighting that beautiful white grapefruit and passion fruit. For tactile qualities, we're looking for a low to medium body that is velvety, think whipped cream. Now, I'd like you to please take your spoons, stir those espressos 5 times, and then go for it. Enjoy. Now, for my milk beverage, I want you to please note down as taste descriptors. We're looking for sweet passion fruit, peach, and just a hint of coconut. Milk, or cow milk at least, actually also goes through a deliberate fermentation process. It's the lactic bacteria in the milk that over time turns into lactic acid. Basically, cow milk gets a lot more acidic the older it gets. So what I'm using today is a very fresh cow milk that is only 2 days old at 4% fat. I've also evaporated the milk. And this is a really simple process that you can also do at home. You start by taking 1 liter of milk, you put it in a pot on the stove. You let that sit for about 30 minutes, between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius. And what's gonna happen is that about 60% of that water is gonna leave the milk, leaving you with a beautiful creamy, sweet, and transparent taste sensation. But I also have a little bit of a secret here today. I've added 10% of a coconut milk. What's really interesting with this is that it complements the beautiful tropical flavor notes that I already have in my espresso, and it generates this beautiful, well-textured and well-balanced milk beverage. Now, I'm dosing 80 milliliters of milk to my 24 grams of espresso. And I'm steaming my milk to about 52 degrees Celsius today. This is where I find where all of those tropical fruits really shines through. I'm also minimizing the white part in the art, steaming my milk a little bit thinner to complement those beautiful taste notes. Now, I want you to please enjoy, and then I'll be right back with your final serving. Please enjoy. Now, for my final serving, we're going to continue to explore those beautiful fermentations. What I brought with me here today is 2 different ingredients that are both fermentations. The only bad things with fermentations is that they take a little bit of time. So what I've done today is I've pre-made the ingredients. But don't worry, I'm going to dose them, and then I'm going to walk you through exactly how I made them, okay? Today, we're going to serve a chilled beverage, just because in Athens it's a little bit warmer. So I pre-cooled all of the ingredients, right? The first ingredient today is going to be 25 milliliters of a yeast anaerobic fig leaf cordial. When I'm adding this to my 4 espresso shots, we're going to generate new beautiful flavor note of coconut and a sensation of apple. My next ingredient is going to be 25 milliliter of a koji fermented red cherry juice. And when I'm adding this to my espresso, what's going to happen is that we're going to bring out new flavors of red grapes, and those apples from the fig leaf is going to turn into red apples, okay? We're going to stir this, let it sit, cool down a little bit longer, homogenize, and I'll walk you through those fermentations, okay? Step 1 is that fig leaf cordial. We're going to start by taking 4 dried fig leaves. We're going to put it in the pot on a stove, and on it, we're adding 400 milliliters of water. Now, we're going to have to bring this up to a boil, let it simmer for about 2 hours. That's how we bring out all of the beautiful flavor notes. When that is done, we're going to add 100 grams of simple white sugar. We're adding it. We do need to give it a little bit of stir. We have to work for it. We let it homogenize. Then we need it to cool down. When it's cooled down, we're taking the leaves out. And what we're left with is going to be this, okay? To make the fermentation, we're taking 0.02 grams of the same yeast that Mauricio used when fermenting his coffees. We're putting it into a siphon, which would be a stainless steel environment, together with 200 milliliters of that fig leaf cordial. The next step is going to be to seal it, and we need to put it in a temperature-controlled water bath. This goes in at 20.6 degrees Celsius for a total of 3 days. After that, it's ready to be used. Now the second ingredient, the koji ferment, is based on 0.2 grams of a koji powder. We put that into that stainless steel environment together with 200 milliliters of a sour red cherry juice. This juice comes from Copenhagen, but you can basically use any juice from the market. So, we're gonna do the same thing here. We need to seal it off. We're gonna put it in the same water bath at the same temperature, this time only for 1 day. Because fermentations are very sensitive to temperature and time. We have to control every single variable to make sure we get the most out of it. Now what's so interesting with these two fermentations is that one, that yeast anaerobic fermentation breaks down more sugars, create more acids. So if we have a fruity coffee, we can make it fruitier. Think of it as coffee on steroids, pretty much. When we look at the koji fermentation, what happens is that we're able to ferment coffee and other stuff with the use of less sugars. So basically we have more sugars left at the end of the fermentation. This makes for a sweeter coffee with a better mouthfeel. So overall, it's a pretty cool thing. Now, we're gonna enjoy this beverage, and I ask you to please wait until I finish my presentation. But for now, please note down as taste descriptors. Up front, we're gonna find red grapes. In the middle, we're finding tropical coconut. We're gonna have a medium malic acidity, a medium tropical sweetness, and a long-lasting finish of that red grapes and coconut. Now today, I actually didn't chill my glasses. And this is kind of interesting because it tastes way better. So you're gonna get the best version of it. Now, I wanna thank you for the opportunity of being here today. And I want us all to remember that we shouldn't hesitate to open up that box of chocolate and embrace the randomness that life and coffee fermentations has to offer, knowing that in this industry, we have some amazing people that is gonna take that randomness and turn it into deliberate magic. Now, please enjoy. Time.
The Barista Champion of Denmark.